you are joining me for the first time, please remember to click subscription button and hit that notification bell to be the first person to receive the video that will be produced by Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, updating you. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media.
For us to get in touch with you. Having said that, let me just ask Chief Electoral Officer to take us through today's presentation in terms of what we have prepared for you.
Good morning, colleagues. Good to see you. And let me also reiterate the apologies for postponing yesterday's briefing. It was due to circumstances beyond the Commission's control. But however, we are happy that you could join us this morning. Media personnel, indeed staff of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen, and all those that are following us via different live platforms. On behalf of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, I wish to welcome you all to this briefing. In our last engagement, we updated you on the progress of the works of the Technical Committee working on COVID-19 prevention measures in the electoral activities, preparations for nominations, and an update on other electoral activities. With reference to the electoral calendar, as you are fully aware, we are now at the stage of certifying the register of voters, which will be used in this year's general election and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may recall, the Commission conducted registration of voters for a total period of 38 days from 9th November to 12th December 2020 and from 17th to 20th December 2020. At the end of the voter registration exercise, the Commission retreated to consolidate data from the registration kits, conduct deduplication and cleanup, a process that has culminated into the 2021 provisional register of voters. Additionally, the Commission launched the 90-day electronic verification of voter details on the provisional register of voters. This exercise ran from 7th February to 7th May 2021. The physical inspection of the provisional register, as you are fully aware, started on 29th March and ended on 7th April 2021. During this period, the Commission offered services such as replacement of lost or damaged voters' cards, transfers and removal of deceased voters from the register. The Commission also received objections and appeals as prescribed in the Electoral Process Act. Allow me to give a breakdown of the number of voters who inspected their details through the electronic as well as physical verification. Out of the total number that verified, which I'll speak to, only 43.2%, representing 3,035,417 of registered voters were able to verify their details. Of these, 57%, this is 1,727,679 verified physically, whilst 43%, which is 1,305,738 verified digitally. This is using both the USSD and URL. This is a website platform that the Commission did put in place. So you will be able to see we have a schedule that will avail to the media by province in terms of the breakdown of how the provinces fared in terms of verification. But in speaking to that, Western Province had the highest number of verified registered voters at 64.7% of the provincial registered voters, whilst Lusaka province had the lowest number of verified voters at 24.5% of provincial registered voters. So from this, you will note that amongst the provinces, Lusaka province was the lowest. This is in comparison to the number of registered voters in Lusaka. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been emphasizing that these processes are critical to ensuring the establishment of a clean and credible register for this year's general election. It's the Commission's desire and wish that all those that did not verify their details will not be disenfranchised in any way due to anomalies that may arise as a result of not verifying one's details. Let me reiterate that we have been emphasizing on the need to verify one's details. And like we have noted already, those that verified only accounted for 43.2%. We must mention that this is higher than the 2016 register in terms of verification exercise numbers. Verified numbers in 2016 were lower than this, but one would have hoped that we would have had more people verify their details. And it is our hope as a Commission that those that did not verify will not have issues and not have any anomalies on the podium. In terms of numbers, to just recap, the Commission announced the following in terms of registered voters. The first provisional register that was consolidated and communicated to the general public stood at 7,020,479. That is 7,020,479. Following the first deduplication exercise, the register, the provisional register, stood at 7,002,393, and the difference was accounted for duplicate records, which were 18,086. Currently, as it stands, the final total after consolidation, deduplication, transfers, appeals, and objections, we are at 7,023,499. This shows the difference between the provisional and the final register of about 21,106, which accounts for 0.3% of the final register. And we have provided a schedule of the breakdown in terms by province, where these provincial differences have arisen. Lusaka has a positive variance, by positive variance indicating that the numbers in Lusaka from the provisional to the final have slightly increased by 1,627, bringing the total final for Lusaka province to 1,243,619. Copperbelt province has a positive variance of 2,674. Eastern province also has a positive variance, meaning an addition of 126. Southern province also has a positive variance, meaning an addition of 3,968. Central province has a negative variance of 40, meaning less by 40. This was as a result of duplicate records as well as transfers, which brought the number to reduced by 40. Northern Province recorded an increase of 5,487 positive variants. Luapula 4,773 positive variants. Western Province 150 positive variants. Muchinga 116 positive variants. Northwestern 2,225 positive variants. So that is what accounts for the 21,106 variation between the last provisional number announced and the final number. Further, a total of 359 appeals and 8 objections were received during the voter registration exercise. So a summary of that will also avail to you, the media colleagues. So in terms of appeals, like I've indicated, 359. Those that were sustained as successful, so sustained implying that they were successful appeals, were 66, while those that were denied as unsuccessful were 293. So of the appeals that were 359, sustained appeals were 66, denied were 293. The Commission also did receive objections, which were only 8. Of the objections, the successful ones, sustained, were 4, denied were also 4. In this regard, the Commission will proceed to issue valid voters' cards to all sustained appellants and encourage the affected to contact the Commission to collect their voters' cards. So all those whose appeals have been sustained will be issued with valid voters' cards and will participate in the 2021 general election. With that, allow me to talk to the 2021 certified register. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, the Commission had set 9th May 2021, which was yesterday, as the date for the certification of the register of voters. After inspection, deduplication, and final consolidation, like I've highlighted, I'm pleased to announce that the certified 2021 register of voters stands at 7,023,499. This now is the certified number. We do not expect this number to change. Let me emphasize that this is a certified register now. I have signed off the register. We did certify it yesterday as per the schedule. And this number is the number of registered voters that will participate in the 2021 general elections. Let me also be quick to mention that this register will be made public after this exercise. As a Commission, we've already commenced the printing of the registers, and all those that would want copies of the registers, the register will be available at only 50 kwacha per polling station. At this point in time, before I talk to the dimensions, allow me to show you a copy of the certified register as the polling station. So this is certified copy. This is just a polling station. So we have over 12,000 polling stations as a country, and the register has been duly signed off by the Chief Electoral Officer, who's myself, as a certified register. So from this date on, unfortunately, those that did not verify, those that did not take into account the opportunity that was accorded to them for the past 90 days, unfortunately, the Commission cannot hear those appeals as it stands. So this is a copy, and it will be made available to the public. So at 50 kwacha only per polling station. Let me also mention that all presidential candidates will be issued with a free copy of the register for all the polling stations. This only applies to presidential candidates. All other candidates will be required to purchase the register for their respective constituencies or their respective ward, as it may be. Allow me now to get back to the numbers so I provide more detail. As I've indicated, the certified 2021 register of voters stands at 7,023,499. In terms of the gender dimension, out of the total of 7,023,499, 3,751,040 are female, representing 53.4%. So this has not changed from the last briefing. Whilst 3,272,459 are male, representing 46.6%. So in terms of percentage, this has not changed, though you will note slight variance in terms of the numbers. We had some that came to change when they were verifying that their gender was incorrectly captured, and they were able to correct that. In terms of age distribution of the register, the age group between 24 years to 34 years accounted for the highest proportion of the registered voters, accounting for 29.6%. So this is the category between 24 years to 34 years. Accounted for the highest proportion of the registered voters, this is 29.6%. This was followed by the age group between 34 years to 50 years at 28.9%. The age group 50 years and above was the lowest proportion of registered voters at 17.1%, and the age group of 24 years and below, which should account for most of the first-time voters, but not all of them, that's 24 years and below age group, accounted for 24.4%. In terms of provincial distribution, Lusaka province accounts for the highest number of registered voters, representing 17.71%, whilst Northwestern is the lowest at 5.51% of the total registered voters. Allow me to speak to this, as I'm sure a number of us will be keen to know what the provincial breakdown is. So for Northwestern province, the total registered voters, like I said, this is the lowest in terms of the registered voters per province, 386,677, accounting for 5.51%. Followed by the Mchinga province. This is in terms of ascending order. Mchinga province at 401,658 at 5.72%. Then in third is Western province at 447,293, representing 6.37%. Luapula, 567,003, representing 8.07%. Northern, 606,346, representing 8.63%. Central Province, 666,600, representing 9.49%. Southern, 787,067, that's 782,067, representing 11.14%. Eastern, 896,339, representing 12.76% of the total registered voters. Copperbelt is the second highest in terms of number of registered voters at 1,025,897, representing 14.61%. Like I earlier indicated, Lusaka has the highest number of registered voters at 1,243,619, representing 17.71% of the total registered voters. In terms of constituency distribution, at constituency level, Kanyama constituency of Lusaka district has the highest number of registered voters at 177,495. Kanyama has the highest number of registered voters as a constituency at 177,495, whilst Lufubu constituency of Ngabwe district has the lowest number of registered voters at 11,411. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the update on the certified register of voters. As provided for in the Electoral Process Act, the Chief Electoral Officer, which is myself in this case, will publish the notice in the Gazette confirming that the certificate of the register of voters for the polling district has been completed, as I earlier demonstrated to you. The register published in the Gazette notice, take note, replaces all registers of voters that have previously been prepared for that polling station. So for the 2021 general election, this is what will be in force. So that is a summary of the certified 2021 register of voters. Allow me to quickly at this point in time also talk to the COVID-19 standard operating procedures. And this is something we have updated the media and indeed the general public. The technical committee tasked to look at modalities of holding the 2021 general elections amid the COVID-19 pandemic has developed standard operating procedures, in short SOPs, aimed at guiding stakeholders' conduct in relation to the election calendar. The SOPs were shared with the political parties on Friday last week. The Commission did hold the Political Party Liaison Committee. The political parties have since welcomed the SOPs, but did emphasize the need to apply them fairly to all stakeholders. The Commission made a clarion call, and which I re-emphasize and make that clarion call, to all political party stakeholders to seriously cooperate on this matter. The Commission reminded political parties that the issue at hand is a matter of life and death and must be approached with utmost caution. Political parties must take full responsibility of what will transpire as a result of failure to adhere to the guidelines recommended by the Technical Committee. The Commission, Ministry of Health, and indeed other respective agencies should not be blamed in case of any eventualities. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, if you have been following global events, most countries that have experienced spikes, the case in point of India, has been as a result of electoral activity. And we, us as a country, as Zambia, we do not want to be in that position. And as a commission, we did speak to political party leaders who were in agreement with the commission that it's important that we have a balance between the COVID-19 guidelines as well as ensuring that we uphold our democratic tenets. And at the end of this electoral cycle, we will still maintain and have a healthy nation. And it's our plea and prayer that that will be the case. We will share the SOPs on our website and other social media platforms, but also for those that would want to access them physically, they are free to approach our corporate affairs department, and these will be issued to you. The Commission will further engage with the media and civil society organizations tomorrow, Tuesday, 11th May 2021, at Mulungushi International Conference Center at 09 hours. Allow me to take this as an official invitation to you colleagues in the media to come through tomorrow at 09 hours at Mulungushi, where you'll be taken through the SOPs so that you get to appreciate what has been contained therein, especially as campaigns kickstart this week. Schedule of pre-processing of supporters. Lastly, allow me to update you on the paid-up presidential candidates for the 2021 general elections. Let me just confirm the number. Currently, as it stands, we could have more that would have paid and have not brought the deposit slips. But as it stands now, a total of 19 political parties have paid up, and the following is the draft schedule for pre-processing of their supporters at provincial centers across the country. And this will also give you an idea of those that have paid up, the 19. So, the pre-processing of supporters commences this Wednesday, 12th May 2021. It was initially scheduled for today, but this was postponed to Wednesday, and this was communicated to political parties at the Political Party Liaison Committee that was held on Friday last week. So the first political party to have their supporters processed will be the Democratic Party, led by President Mr. Harry Kalava, at 08 hours to 09:30 hours. This is at all provincial centers. So Wednesday, 08 hours to 09:30 hours, we will process the Democratic Party, that is President Mr. Harry Kalava. On same day, Wednesday, 10 hours to 11:30, we'll have Ms. Chishala Kateka, that's New Heritage Party. That's from 10 hours to 11:30. Ms. Chishala Kateka, New Heritage Party. On Wednesday, same day, that is 12th of May 2021, we also have Mr. Charles Chanda, United Progress Party of Zambia. That's 12 hours to 13:30 hours. That's 12 hours to 13:30. That's United Progressive Party of Zambia. Wednesday, the same day, 14 to 15:30, we also have Mr. Enoch R. Tonga of Third Liberation Movement, 14 hours to 15:30 hours. Mr. Enoch R. Tonga, Third Liberation Movement. 16 hours to 17:30 hours, we'll have Dr. Muswa T. Mwamba, that's United Nation Independence Party, that's UNIP. 16 hours to 17:30 hours. On Thursday, 13th May 2021, the first political party will be the Patriotic Front, led by His Excellency the President, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, that's 08 hours to 09:30 hours. Thursday, 10 hours to 11:30 hours, we have the Economic Freedom Fighters, that Mr. Kasonde C. Mwenda, Economic Freedom Fighters, 10 hours to 11:30. Thursday, 12 hours to 13:30 hours, we'll have Mr. Stephen Nyirenda, that's National Restoration Party. That's 12 hours to 13:30 hours. 14 hours to 15:30 hours, we'll have Mr. Lazarus Chisela, that's Zambian United for Sustainable Development. That is 14 hours to 15:30 hours. Mr. Lazarus Chisela, Zambian United for Sustainable Development. Friday, still on Thursday, we still have one. That's 16 hours to 17:30 hours. We have Mr. Nason Msoni, All People's Congress Party. All People's Congress Party, that's 16 hours to 17:30 hours. On Friday, that is 14th May 2021, we'll have from 8 hours to 09:30 hours, United Party for National Development, led by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. That's United Party for National Development, 8 hours to 09:30 hours. Friday, 10 hours to 11:30 hours, we'll have the Socialist Party, led by that's Dr. Fred M. Membe, Socialist Party. 12 hours to 13:30 hours, we'll have Patriots for Economic Progress, that's Mr. Sean E. Tembo. 12 hours to 13:30 hours, that's on Friday, Mr. Sean E. Tembo, Patriots for Economic Progress. 14 hours to 15:30 hours, we'll have the Party of National Unity and Progress, that's Mr. Davi-H. Hamdudu. That's 14 hours to 15:30 hours, Party of National Unity and Progress, Mr. Davi-H. Hamdudu. Friday, 16 hours to 17:30 hours, we'll have the New Congress Party, that's by Mr. Peter Chanda. New Congress Party, 16 hours to 17:30 hours, Mr. Peter Chanda, New Congress Party. Saturday, which is the last day, 15th May 2021, 08 hours to 09:30 hours, we'll have Movement for Multi-Party Democracy. Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, that's Dr. Nevas Mumba. 10 hours to 11:30 hours, we'll have the Leadership Movement by Dr. Richard Silumbe. Leadership Movement, 10 hours to 11:30 hours, Dr. Richard Silumbe. 12 hours to 13:30, we have an independent candidate standing for the position of President, Mr. Masua E. Kalavi. That's Mr. Masua E. Kalavi as independent. 12 hours to 13:30 hours. And lastly, 14 hours to 15:30 hours, we have People's Alliance for Change, Mr. Antford M. Banda. So that is the list of the 19 presidential candidates thus far. Like I earlier indicated, we could have had some that would have deposited and have not got the receipts. So we'll consolidate and we'll be communicating to all the political parties, the schedules. We thought we communicate to the general public. Please, all presidential candidates, take note of those dates that have been scheduled. Prepare your supporters in good time, and do take note of the COVID guidelines that have been put in place for the processing of the candidates. At this juncture, I would like to thank you all, and I hand over to Corporate Affairs to lead the proceedings from this point.
Thank you very much, CEO. That's the time we allow you to interact with us if there are questions. Anyone who has a question, so you introduce yourself, your name, the media house you represent. Yes, we can start with you.
Thank you. My name is Best Jerry from Manhattan Radio. So the first question is on page after our political parties, we say they are 19. We wanted to find out how much is the total. And the other one is you mentioned of taking the registered 50 kwacha. Yes, I wanted to find out why not for free or at another price. Thank you.
Thank you, Best, for that question. Money matters, eh? Anyone with a question?
Yes, good morning. My name is Shambomota from the National. I just want to clarify on the duplicate records that you have spoken about, 18,000 plus. Obviously, that's adds security on the final voter register. Wasn't the voter registration system watertight enough to detect those multiple registrations, or is there another one that slight?
Thank you. Okay.
My name is Tito. I report for Spring TV. I think for me the question that they're asking is a question that has been trending on social media since yesterday. It says ECZ has set 7 days for depositing and nomination fees by presidential candidates into its bank account. That included Saturday and Sunday. Was it reasonable to expect candidates to deposit the funds on Sunday? Did ECZ make arrangements to have its banks remain open on Saturday and Sunday to allow last minute deposits?
Okay, we'll allow the Chief Electoral Officer to respond and we'll come back to you.
Can somebody do the maths for me? 95,000 by 19 candidates. That should give you the answer of the total. That's 1 million kwacha, 1,805,000. That's the total. Register, why not for free? It costs money to produce a register. So really you have to pay for it. And this is one of the reasons why we always have been talking about, for example, issues to do with nomination fees. One of the aspects that we did discuss with stakeholders in the last engagement is that when the Commission raises this, we'll be able to avail the register for free. But unfortunately, stakeholders did not agree to that, and we had to lower the nomination fees, and we did say that the register will be paid up. But in brief is that printing of a register costs money. So for one to access that, you need to get it. And the register is provided in a hard copy. So you have to put that 50 kwacha only for polling station. Duplicate, wasn't it watertight to detect? When you're registering, and I think we've been talking about this exercise for a very long time now, since we commenced, even before we commenced, the voter registration, the process that will be involved. First and foremost, I must mention that during the registration kits were not linked to our system. So it was very possible for one to register, to undertake multiple registration. So you'd go to one polling station, register, go to another, register. But that did not mean that those registrations would be valid. When the system is linked to our network and exposed to our verification exercise, which we are undertaking. The duplicate records do come up as a result of biometrics. They'll be able to detect that this is the same individual who did multiple registration. And in that instance, I did provide an update in the last briefing that all those that were found to be intentionally doing that will actually be prosecuted, and the legal team is following up on that matter. But also the law does provide for a period of inspections to undertake a number of activities like we've alluded to. Aspects to do appeals, objections, and indeed consolidation and deduplication. This is very important so that at the end of the process, you're able to come out with a clean register that can satisfy all stakeholders and indeed the Commission for Conduct of Elections. And we've always emphasized right from the first time we announced the first numbers that the numbers were provisional and the numbers were subject to change on those conditions, and hence the point where we have reached now. Please take note of that. 7 days. The Commission has no weekend. We work every day. We were here at the office yesterday, I think up to 18, somewhere there. And we did have candidates coming through to pay. So where a bank is not open, you will not be penalized. If you're able to bring cash, you'll be able to accept. The same applies for candidates in remote areas where there will be no banking facilities. That does not mean that that candidate will be penalized. They will be able to submit the cash to the district electoral officers in those respective areas. There's nitride they're playing. Who's the owner of this? Okay. Some flashback there for those of us that were watching Knight Rider. Yeah. So the 7 days, it doesn't disenfranchise anybody. And I'm yet to hear of any candidate that has not been able to pay as a result of the weekend. So nobody's differentiated. We had, for instance, Honorable Hamdudu, President Ivy Hamdudu come through yesterday, and they did make their payment. We also had UNIP come through to pay yesterday. So I don't know where that narrative is coming from, but it doesn't differentiate anybody. The Commission works 24/7. I think those were the questions we had.
Any more questions before we release the Chief Electoral Officer? Please.
Alfred from Smart Eagles. Emmanuel from our online platform is asking why should they purchase the voter register instead of just putting out in soft copy, considering the era in which we are in, electronic. Why can't you put it out electronically on your Facebook platforms or something?
Sure. That would be the most easy and convenient way. We just put it up. Firstly, I think when it comes to size, you will not be able to download it. You're talking about 12,000 polling stations plus, so it's quite massive. But those that would have the capacity will be able to do that. But as a policy, the Commission does not give out documents in soft copy. For a simple reason, these documents have to be authenticated. We need to ensure that the document that you're dealing with is a valid document of the Commission and is duly stamped, coming from the Electoral Commission of Zambia, so that there's no alterations. We don't want misinformation. We don't want people reproducing registers that do not exist. So you have to get a hard copy, unfortunately, for that particular reason.
I saw a hand At the far end there, do we have any more questions so that we take them
But
at once?
also just to clarify, in terms of the numbers, these numbers will be available. So you will have PDF documents that will be on our website that will show the disaggregated data of the register. So you'll be able to get those statistics. So you'll be able to get the numbers of the constituency, the polling districts, provincial, whatever numbers you want, they will be there. They will be disaggregated. But in terms of the actual register, that contains the details, the facials and everything of individuals. So you're referring to this. Such a register you will have to procure. But the details in terms of what is contained in each constituency, all those numbers, if you want to do your analysis and so on, this will readily be available to all, and this should be up to date, I'm sure, by end of day on our website. So you get all that disaggregated data.
Thank you. I assume we are taking the last question, so yes, please.
My name is Darius. See, I just wanted to get the right training mentioned by these presidential candidates. I don't have given us a figure of 19, but still it's just you may give us the latest information, maybe by tomorrow or at the end of the day. Does this mean that the period hasn't elapsed, or is there going to be an extension? And then also, I don't know if the Commission is in a position to give us reasons as to why certain provinces, let's say North Western province, have seen a decrease in the number of registered voters from 2016 and registered.
Is that Priscilla? The masks, we are even failing to recognize people. Yes, please.
Priscilla, from David. Mine is just a clarification. When I walked in, the CEO was talking about the verified, the people who verified the voters who verified details for this year. It was about 43.2%, and it's a slight increase from 2016. I just wanted to find out what was the percentage for 2016.
This time it's myself, apologies. Is that all?
I think so.
Okay. So, do we expect more candidates to bring money and pay? Since I did indicate that the 19 was tentative, we could have had some. Like you've observed, the period for payments was up to Sunday. So we could have had candidates that could have done a transfer, for instance, on a Saturday. That could not have reflected by now. We could have had some that did make the deposits, but have not been able to bring forward that. We had, for instance, a presidential candidate come through this morning, indicated that they made the payment late on Saturday. So we are just making provision for that, especially that we are giving this briefing early in the morning. But there could have been some that undertook that exercise over the weekend, but were unable to come through to the Commission. But also from our end, we are able to verify whether those funds have hit their account or not. But as it stands, we have 19 presidential candidates for the 2021 general elections. We've also already prepared the schedule for processing of their supporters as shared. So please do take note of that. 2016 decrease in some provinces compared to the 2021 as certified register. Now, this question is somewhat heartbreaking, I think, for the Commission. Because in most instances, it is coined around the idea that the Commission has been gerrymandering. Is that the term? playing around with numbers in terms of registering voters. Really, it is quite demeaning on the part of the Commission to think that the entire Commission, members of the Commission, and management would sit down and start looking at how to favor one political party over the other. The Commission has a constitutional mandate to preside over the elections of the country, and that is a mandate that we take extremely seriously. The parameters for voter registration on the part of the Commission are very clear, and these are applied equitably. When we are undertaking voter registration, we look at a number of factors. Population density, and these are things that I've spoken to previously, geographical features, number of wards, among other factors. And those determine the number of personnel to be deployed, the number of kids to be deployed, and other resources to be deployed. And you will note that even now, as presumed, that certain areas that are supposed to be strongholds of political parties, and let me emphasize this, the Commission does not work with that lens of stronghold political parties. The constituency for presidency is Zambia, and that is what the Commission works with. It is not north, it is not south, east, west. It is Zambia. And therefore, when we are undertaking our activities, we apply them equitably. How the registration and turnout, which is also applies to voting, is outside the Commission's control. And I've always given this example when it comes to voter turnout. You will see that certain regions tend to have very high voter turnout. For example, Southern Province has always tended to be higher than most, 70% plus, in terms of voter turnout against other regions. Would you say it's the Commission that did that? If you look at also the pattern, and this is very, very important, especially colleagues in the media, do a lot of analysis, look at the register of 2016, look at eligible in 2016 versus what was registered. You'll find that what was perceived to be the current, the political party in power, the numbers were lower in those areas. The perceived strongholds, Muchinga, for example, very, very low in comparison to eligibility. Would you then indicate that the Commission was conniving with the opposition at the time? No. And in answering that question, really, it's just to say that as a Commission, we remain professional. We undertake our activities based on set parameters, and these are usually scientific parameters. Aspects that are outside of our control are not for us to answer. And I think we implore all citizens to basically turn up when these activities are put forward on the part of the Commission, and now make a plea to all citizens as we head to the 2021 August polls. Please turn out in numbers. We're very excited as a Commission in terms of the numbers that we've been able to capture. In the certified register, 7 million plus, 83+% of all eligible voters, something that is quite comforting. For the first time, we have quite a robust register, both in terms of security, but also in terms of numbers. And we're very happy in that respect. Even when you look at the demographics, we've captured almost all brackets in terms of the age bands. They are all represented. So now what is left is to exercise that constitutional right that has been embedded on all of us as citizens and turn out in numbers so that we have a free, fair, and credible election come 2021. 2016, what was the variation in terms of those that had verified? What was the number in comparison to now? So the 2016, those that verified were 28%. 28%. So again, in that score, we have also scored a success, but not enough. Because verification exercises is very, very important. And I think the most disheartening part is you are geared, you wake up early in the morning, 04, I'm going to vote, exercise my constitutional right. You reach there, you can't vote because of just simply failing to verify your details. Even when the Commission had provided multiple platforms, including USSD, which would have taken you just less than a minute to verify your details. But this is something that we are working on. We need to enhance publicity and uptake of electoral services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have come to the end of the briefing for today. Darius, has CEO provoked your mind to ask another question? Please ask so that we release the Chief Electoral Officer for another meeting.
Something that has just come to my mind, that was we have also seen an increase in terms of presidential candidates participating in this year's election as well as 2016. We'd just like to find out from the Commission, what does this mean? Because now I believe that there will be more work for you to look at the number of candidates that are so far, 19 candidates compared to that's about 9.
Sorry, Darius, I didn't get it. More work in terms of?
We are looking at the increase in the number of presidential candidates participating compared to 2016 elections. Now we're talking about 19, and in 2016 we only had about 9 candidates who participated. That's presidential candidates.
Yes, yes. So the question is, are we ready for that?
Yes, and also what this means for you as
Okay. Well, for the Commission, we do prepare adequately. Even if there were 100 candidates, we would have taken care of that. So those are things that we plan in advance. We ensure phones today are on rampage. Okay. So we do ensure that we put in all measures necessary. So even if the number went to as high as 100, as a Commission will be able to facilitate for that, including the printing of ballots. These are contingencies we put, and our printers are already on standby. So once we conclude with the nomination processes, we'll proceed, assuming that we do not have any petitions, we'll proceed to commence with the exercise of printing. Let me mention again that the 19 are paid up. Does not mean that the 19 are the ones that are going to participate in the elections. They are paid up. Please draw that distinction. Nomination is on the 17th. So these are the paid up. From this point, we're now going to start processing their supporters. We might have a situation where, for instance, a candidate does not meet the requirements, even as simple as having the required supporters. So in that case, they will not be able to file in their nomination. So the candidates that will participate in the 2021 general elections will only be known after the filing in of nomination on 17th of May. So these are the candidates that have paid up, the 19th, have paid up as part of the requirement. When you look at the requirements for filing in of nomination, is that one should have paid the prescribed fee. So the returning officer, who in this case is the commission chairperson, will receive the nomination of all the presidential candidates, and at that day, on that date, on 17th, will be able to announce who has successfully filed in their nomination. So please take note of that distinction. Sorry, 17th to 20th, just to make that clear. The nomination process, 17th to 20th. 17th to 20th for presidential candidates. So after that period, we'll be able to advise how many presidential candidates will be on the ballot. I thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO. We've come to the end of the briefing for today. Just some quick housekeeping issues. Tomorrow we'll be briefing the media and civil society organizations at Mulungushi International Conference Center on the developed standard operating procedures. This is express invitation to you all. And speeches outside, you can collect them on the table outside. You also need to make sure you leave us your contact details. We are experiencing a problem where we are called and said you've not invited us for the briefing. We want to have consolidated details of the invitations as well as your contact numbers. Thank you and have a good day.
If you are joining me for the first time, please remember to click subscription button and hit that notification bell to be the first person to receive the video that will be produced by Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, updating you. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media. Davi-tech-media, subscribe to Davi-tech-media.